In this video, we're going to start the segment addition postulate worksheet under the KutaSoftware website, and this is a free worksheet that you can find within the Geometry tab. Our directions for the first part of this worksheet are to find the length indicated. Before we dive into this, let's go over what the segment addition postulate says. So you want to imagine a segment A, C, where some point B lies between A and C. Then the segment addition postulate says that the length AB plus the length of BC, so here you can see AB and this segment is BC, that when you add those separate lengths together, that it will equal the total segment A to C. Now that we quickly reviewed that, let's look at number 1. In number 1, we're given this segment HF, and we know that HF is equal to 10. What we're looking for is the segment HG, knowing that GF is equal to 1. So let's write our equation. We have HG, which is unknown, and if we add that to GF, we will get the total length from H to F. Now let's plug in what we know. We don't know HG, so this is what we're solving for. We do know GF, which is 1, and we know that segment HF is 10. What we want to do is isolate this HG, since that's what we're looking for. And we can do that by subtracting 1 from both sides of this equation. That'll give us that HG, the segment HG, is equal to 10 minus 1, which is 9. So 9 is our solution in number 1. In number 2, let's start by writing out our equation. We have the segment RS, and if we add that to ST, we will get the total length of the segment RT. Now let's plug in what we know. RS, we're given that it's equal to 1. ST is what we're solving for, and we're given that RT is 13. So just like in the previous problem, we need to isolate what we want to know the length of. And we're going to do that by subtracting 1 from both sides of the equation. So we'll get that segment ST is equal to 13 minus 1, which is 12. In number 3, we have segment TU. And if we add that length to segment UV, we will get the total length of the segment TV. Now let's plug in what we know. We're not sure what TU is, so we'll leave this as segment TU. UV, we know, is 20, and that's equal to segment TV, which is given as 32. We're solving for the segment TU, and we're going to do that by subtracting 20. When we subtract 20 from both sides, we get that segment TU is equal to 32 minus 20, which is 12. So 12 is our answer in number 3. Segment CD plus segment DE is going to equal the total length of segment CE. So we have 14 plus something is going to give us 30. CD is 14 plus segment DE is our unknown, and that's equal to 30. So in order to solve for segment DE, we're going to subtract 14 from both sides. On the left-hand side of our equation, we still have segment DE, and that's equal to 30 minus 14, which is 16. Mentally, just think of this as 14 plus some number equals 30. So you know, in order to find that number, you're going to have to subtract 14 from the total. And when you subtracted 14 from 30, we got 16. And number 5, it's telling us to find KL. And you can see that KL is this segment here. So using the segment addition postulate, we can say that segment IJ plus segment JK plus this segment KL is going to be equal to the entire segment IL. And now we're going to plug in what we know. IJ, we know, is 9, and we're adding that to the segment JK, which was 11, and we're adding that to our unknown KL, so segment KL, and that's equal to our total length I to L, which is 26. Simplifying, let's combine 9 and 11. So 9 plus 11 will give us 20, and we're adding that to segment KL, which is equal to the total length of 26. Our final step is to subtract 20 from both sides. In doing so, we'll isolate the segment KL, and we will discover that KL is equal to 26 minus 20, which is 6. And if you want to double check, add 9 plus 11 plus 6 together, and you will see that you will get 26. Moving on to number 6, we're finding the length of HJ. However, we're not given the total length of the entire segment G to J. We can see that G to I plus IJ is equal to that total length GJ. So segment GI plus segment IJ equals the total length GJ. Both GI and IJ are given, so GI is 7, IJ is 12, and that is equal to the total length G to J. 7 plus 12 is 19, so 19 is equal to GJ. So now we have the total length of our segment. So G all the way to J is 19. So now I can make a new equation. I'm trying to find H to J, and I can see that H to J plus GH equals the total segment. So I'll have GH plus HJ, and that's equal to GJ, which we solved for in our previous equation. So I'll plug in GH, which is 2. I'm looking for the segment HJ, and that is equal to GJ, which we got to be 19. My final step is just to subtract by 2. When I do that, I'll find that segment HJ is equal to a length of 19 minus 2, which is 17. Now, there are multiple ways to do number 6. You could also recognize that GH plus HI is equal to 7. Taking 2 away from 7, you would get that HI is equal to 5. And then you could just add 5 to 12 to get HJ, which is 17. So just because I'm finding the length of segment HJ one way doesn't mean there's not another way to figure it out. Let's move on to number 7. Number 7 asks us to find EC. We're given DC, we're given EB, and we're given length DB. In order to solve for this, I'm going to start by figuring out length E to D. So segment ED plus segment DB is going to equal the entire length, so ED, DB will equal E to B. Now I'll plug in what I know. I do not know ED, however I know DB is 30, and I know the length of segment EB is 49. So I'll subtract 30 from both sides to get that segment ED is equal to 49 minus 30, which is 19. So E to D is 19. But remember, I'm trying to solve for E to C. I can see that segment ED, which we just solved for, plus segment DC equals segment EC, which is what I want to know the length of. So ED is 19 plus DC, which is 16, equals the length of segment EC. 19 plus 16 equals 35, So 35 is the length of segment EC. So 35 is my answer in number 7. And lastly, in this video, we'll go over number 8. In number 8, we're looking for the length of segment IK. So let's start by finding out I to J. So the length of segment IJ plus the length of segment JL, which is given, is equal to the length of segment I to L. And if you haven't noticed, we only want one unknown in an equation. That way we can solve for that unknown and slowly work our way to our solution, the length that's indicated that we need to find. So IJ is our unknown. So we have segment IJ plus segment JL, which we know the length of that is 31. And that's equal to the total length of I to L, which is 49. So I'm going to subtract 31, and that'll give us that segment IJ is equal to 49 minus 31, which is 18. So I have that IJ equals 18. And now that I've solved for IJ, I can add segment IJ to the length of segment JK to get the total length of IK. IJ, 18, plus JK, 12, equals segment IK. 18 plus 12 equals 30, so 30 is our answer in number 8 and is the length of segment IK. And I'll go ahead and stop this video here. Please join me in the next video where we'll continue on with this worksheet. But before you do that, remember to subscribe to my channel and like this video. Also, if you have any questions on the segment addition postulate, leave it in the comments below.